Hello everyone and welcome to my new video. If you like this video, please like it and hit subscribe and consider supporting me on Patreon. And I love that. Right, now that I've done that. What is this video about? Well, as you can see, I've got the lovely beige square of an empty MaxMSP patch open, and I'm going to make a massive patch using audio to kind of paint pictures with beats. So beat graffiti. And then I'm going to try and put that beat graffiti data into a sort of 3D world and try and make it look good. This is going to be a very long video. I'm going to go really, really deep, loads of parameters, loads of things to explore, and hopefully you'll enjoy it. So let's get started, shall we? What do we need? Well, first we need to unlock the patch. I'm going to turn the grid on. And I'm going to start by creating a jit.world. Let's zoom in to that world so I can actually see how I'm spelling it. Where's it gone? Jit.world at enable 1 at floating 1 at erase underscore color 0001, which should give us a black square. Okay, so that's where we're going to do all our rendering to. Let's snap to the grid. Let's come out a little bit and see where I am. Okay, we'll just put that there for now. So what I'm going to start with is this object called jit.poke. Jit.poke. This is an interesting object because it's a jitter object, but you can see it's got a tilde, which kind of means that surely that's something to do with MSP, right? Well, it is. If we alt-click that, we get the help file, which will give us a little explanation here. Write an audio signal into a matrix. Let's just have a quick look at, oh, look at this. Right, so let's try and work out what's going on here. So we've got a high signal of 1 in this first inlet, and then we've got a couple of cycles that are going from -1 to 1, but scaled to the dimensions of this matrix over here. So they've both got the same name. Okay, so we can kind of write audio signals into a matrix and make these kind of like this stuff happen. So this is what we're going to do. So we're going to give this jit.poke a name, and I'm going to call it pokey. And then I'm going to create a matrix here. So sorry, no, a jit.matrix called pokey. And it's going to be a 1 plane float 32. Let's go for 200 by 200 dimensions matrix. Okay, this looks good. Let's take the render bang out of the jit.world and plug that into our matrix. Okay, let's create an easy DAC so we can enable the audio. And let's write some signals into this jit.poke. Let's get a P window so we can see what it's doing. Right, so we need first we need a high signal in this first inlet. And I'm just going to start with a couple of random objects, just going at like 1 hertz. And so, yes, audio signals obviously generally go from -1 to 1. However, we're writing into a matrix with a dimension of 200 by 200. So as referring to the help file, let's scale -1 to 1 from 0 to 200. Does it need to be a float? I don't think so. Does it need to be a float? Probably not. All right, they've put it as a float. I'm going to put it as a float then. Right, so 0 to 200. And let's get another one of those. Let's try and keep this tidy as we go. Oh, God, it's so difficult though sometimes, isn't it? Right, let's put that there, and we'll put this one here. All right, and okay, it's doing something. All right, it's doing something straight away. So these, if we sort of use a live scope here, we can see that, right, no, not that one. Let's take this one. Okay, so this first one here, I believe we'll be writing into our X dimension, and then this one will be writing into our Y dimension. So you can see it's already, you know, making some cool lines. But the problem is that it's just staying there. Everything is just staying there. So yes, let's erase that. Let's make a clear message. Actually, I could just type the message. Actually, I'll do prepend clear. And I'll connect that to my matrix. And then as per the reference, let's have a metro here of 1 second at that active 1. And then let's clear that matrix every second so that we can start drawing again. Already it's got a kind of Etch-a-Sketch vibe about it, hasn't it? Right. So what can we do with that? First I'm just going to have a little sip of beer. Slightly different quality of production today because I'm not doing this inside Ableton where I would normally do all the pre-production sound-wise in there. So there's no gate on my mic. So you'll hear my squeaky chair and everything. I hope you'll be very patient. Right. What was I going to do? Yes. So let's zoom out a little bit. And actually what I was going to do was add some noise to these random signals, which maybe could be amplified by some incoming audio. So let's think about how we're going to do that. First of all, let's make a noise object. Let's actually make 2 of them. One for the x-axis, one for the y-axis, and then let's create a multiplier here and one over here. And to start with, I'll just control that multiplication with a float, and then I'll add both of those signals to these random signals, and let's see what we get with that. So let's make this P window nice and big, and we can see what happens when we start to add some noise. Ooh! We get this kind of thing. So that's pretty grungy. We're at 200 by 200 dimensions. Could we go higher? Let's have a look at the OpenGL status. Well, I'm not actually using OpenGL yet. I'm still on the... let's have another look. Let's have a look at the audio status. Oh no, that's not what I want. I want the DSP CPU meter. 4%. Okay, all right. Why don't let's whack those dimensions up a little bit more. Let's go for 500 by 500. We'll then have to rescale this stuff. And that will just give us a little bit more detail. Okay, so let's turn that noise down a little bit. Okay, so we're getting some kind of like marker pen kind of vibe here. It's nice. All right, let's go. Let's just add loads of noise. Woo. Okay, so let's just add a tiny little bit of noise then. All right, this is good. So we can obviously set a frequency up here for the rate of the randoms. So if we go really fast here, we're going to get this kind of stuff. Yeah. Okay. This is nice. There are some slightly jagged edges. If we go at slower speeds, you can see it kind of does a dead kink like that. But we can add some slide to that by simply sliding the audio signal. So let's create 2 slides and put one in there and one, oh my goodness me, one in there and one in there. And then I'll create an integer and just connect it to all the slide ups and the slide downs on those slide objects. I'm never really too sure if it's in milliseconds or samples, but let's just type in 1000 and see what we get. Okay, so something's happened there. What's happened? All right, so let's try a slightly faster. There we go. So now we get more curvy lines. But because we're sliding, we're filtering out some of that noise. So we will have to like crank the noise back up in order to get some of that noise. Then we get this type of stuff. Yeah, this is good. Although I don't really like the kind of the instant clearing of the matrix. So maybe we could mask that by perhaps using a jit.slide. And we'll create a, yeah, let's go with a prepend slide _ down. Connect that to our jit.slide, and then we'll create a float. I can never remember whether it's float or not. But so as I increase that, you'll see how the old graffitis start to fade. And then we could actually have an erase time for our metro that's erasing the matrix. Let's try 100. Is that even doing it? Is that even doing it? That's erasing. Let's pull the slide back down to 10. Okay, all right. So now we've got just like, yeah. So there's going to be a phenomenal amount of parameters for us to explore here. This could turn into be quite a flexible, interesting patch. Obviously, the longer the slide time, the more time it takes to bleed out. The slower the slide time, but longer the erase time, we get more duration of the wiggly lines. And okay. All right, that's kind of cool. Nice. All right, let's keep going. So why don't we now get that into a texture, jit.gl.texture, so we can get this into OpenGL land. So you can see that now the cable's gone blue. And what are we going to do? Okay, let's get that into a video plane, jit.gl.videoplane at gl_color 1111, should be white. And then if I plug that in there, it's going to come on the screen. So now we're rendering to the main 3D context, but I'll keep this P window here just in case. Yeah, it's looking all right. It's kind of a sort of a mixture of graffiti and well, lightning, I suppose. Perhaps beat graffiti was not an appropriate name. That was just what I thought of it, because I was kind of thinking what we would do is that we would use the multiplication of the noise to be triggered by beats like that. So when a beat comes in, it kind of flicks up the noise. But we'll get around to that later. So let's stick with this. And right, now that we're in OpenGL land, we could maybe do some interesting stuff with some slabs, maybe a bit of distortion, perhaps a bit of feedback. How are we going to do that? Well, I think first of all, what I'll do is I'll create a jit.gl.node. I'm going to name it at name. Let's just call it feedback. And I'm going to connect that node to this video plane. Oh, not like that though, not with that one, with the middle. The middle outlet will connect to 3D objects to draw to this node. Okay, so even though we can actually still see that video plane, it's actually drawing to this node rather than the world. So in order to get it sort of back into the world, I guess, we're going to need to think of some way to look at it. So I'm going to try jit.gl.camera, which is going to look at the node named feedback, and I'm going to turn it on. I'm going to say capture 1. And now we see nothing. That's because we've told this camera, which is looking at this node, to show us what it's seeing from that node in this world. But we can't, because we don't have anything to look at. So let's create another jit.gl.video plane. And let's do at transform reset to. Actually, no, I'm not going to do that. No, I'm going to use a jit.gl.gridshape at shape plane at dim. Oh, my computer might hate me for this. Let's try 500 by 500 at gl_color 1111. Okay, what do we get? Okay, right. So now the camera is looking at this node, which is looking at this video plane, and then that camera is sending what it's seeing over here. It's sending down this blue cable into this grid shape, which is what the world is looking at. It's really confusing, but hopefully you understand. Let's create a jit.gl.handle and connect that to our world. Just make a quick message reset so that we can reset the handle. So the handle will allow me to move the plane around. Maybe let's just put the erase color back to gray for a minute. Okay, yeah. So now we can clearly see that we've created a plane, and it's looking a bit strange. Not sure why, but there's something fun going on there. All right, anyway, so we've got a plane, and on that plane is all this stuff. So where can we go from there? Well, I was exploring the jit.gl.camera help file, And I found this very interesting kind of feedback stuff. If you go into jitter examples and then go to render and go to camera and go to camera capture, there's this patch that does like this crazy kind of feedback with the camera, stuff like that. So I thought, well, I'm going to nick that. So that's exactly what I'm going to do. I'm going to nick all of this stuff here from this example, because that's what Max is about. You could just pinch bits and put them in your own patch. They don't care. They want you to do that. Okay, so don't save it though. Never save it. Okay, so I'm going to paste that stuff in now that I just did. Let's paste that in there. So what's going on here? This is a slab which is doing a luma keying. And then that is running into a rotor, which is like a rotation shader, which is then being fed back into the luma key. So I'm going to plug that camera into there, and then I'm going to plug the output of that into the video player, and we're probably going to start to see some stuff. Right, okay, this is all a little bit much, so I'm going to just change that theta to 0. Okay, and I'm going to pinch this. In fact, I don't want offset. I'm just going to change this to zoom. Come on, zoom. And delete that, and I'm going to connect that same one. So now we've got, actually I don't want those things either. This is all I want. Okay, just a little bit tidying, click and drag, tidy up. Okay, put that down there. Right, so now we've got a little bit of zooming. We can zoom, whoa, my goodness me. Okay, we can sort of zoom. Yeah. So as we kind of adjust a zoom parameter, that gets fed back into the luma key, which then comes back forward again. And so that's how we get this sort of crazy, it's all gone kind of gray though, I'm not sure why. And then we can turn it with this theta like that to get this kind of stuff. Okay. But obviously the problem is that it kind of bleeds. It eventually will potentially bleed, and all we'll have is just white. So if we went to something like, oh, it does look kind of cool though. Yeah, okay. I want to think of a way to help with that bleed. So I'm going to bring in jit.gl.pix, and I'm going to ping this. I'm going to do a little bit of processing on the video feedback loop. So I've created a jit.gl.pix. I'm going to hold shift and ping that into the loop, and now we can see that it's done some stuff. Okay, I'm going to go into jit.gl.pix, and I'm going to create just a very, very basic filter to filter some of that stuff out. So I'm going to delete that, and I'm just going to do a greater than or equals to or path, I think. And I'm going to say filter, and then I'm going to create a param here, param filter. And then I should be able to just simply say only let through, well, pixels, I guess, that are above a certain number, which I'm guessing is how bright they are. Anyway, let's do it. Let's do prepend filter. Let's connect that to our jit.gl.pix, and let's make a float. And let's just quickly go into the inspector and say I want this to go from 0 to 1. So if we go to like 0.5, okay, yeah, we can see that we're kind of filtering out now some of those echoes. And if we come back down to 0, it's leaving some of those echoes in. This is nice. So if we start to play around with the zoom, and it all starts to get a bit out of the theta, and it all starts to get a bit out of control, then we can kind of dial in the filter to kind of bring it back to normality a little bit. Let's also do a prepend param bound mode, so we can experiment with the different types of mirroring in this rotor slab. Yeah, we get all sort of things that we can do. Oh, okay, that's interesting. Something weird's going on. Oh, I think it's because the video plane is. Okay, that video plane is moving. Let's try putting that to transform reset to. Ah, yes, That was what I meant to do. Okay, so I'm going to click here. I'm going to go transform, change attributes to arguments. Boom. This is a great new thing I just found out recently, is that you can quickly put your attributes to arguments so that when you save, it will remember what you do. Okay. Let's put this zoom back to something like this. Let's put the theta back to 0. Let's pull that filter down. All right, so we've got some stuff now. Okay, this is good. I'm just going to have a quick drink. I hope you're enjoying this. Let's crank that noise up. Yeah, look at that. This is cool. So obviously at any point we can hit reset and just kind of get this type of thing. All right, yeah, where can we go from here? Let's just have a little play with it for a little while. Let's turn that random up. Let's bring the slide up. Let's bring the erase time down, just check. Yeah, there's just lots of tweakability here. All right, let's keep going. Let's try something like this. All right, where can we go from here? Well, we could maybe distort this even further before it hits the grid shape. I wonder if there's any way I can... Let's just try and... Yeah, that makes sense. Okay. So, yeah, maybe we could try and distort this before it hits the grid shape even more. Perhaps with the jit.gl.bfg at basis... actually, I'll worry about that in a minute. Let's ping that in there. That's going to go because we need to go into our basis attribute and specify that we want input distorted. Oh, yeah. Okay, so that's just going to allow us to apply some noise distortion to that input before it hits the video plane or the grid shape. So let's go transform, change attributes to arguments. Oh. And it's just made a huge load of crap there. Okay, that's all right. Let's keep going with that. And let's choose now an inner basis. So let's go for the inner basis, and this will allow us to choose what type of input distortion we want. I'm going to go with, fractal multi-hybrid. Again, let's go transform attributes to arguments. Yeah, that's cool. All right. And then I guess we could have a look at the time. Yeah. Okay, so we could maybe have, let's create a prepend time, and then let's make a jit.time. Have it going at a pretty slow speed, at speed 0.01 or 0.1. Let's try that, see what that's like. Let's plug that into our BFG. Okay, and then we get this type of stuff. This is nice. I'm having a nice time, but it still looks a bit grey. Did I do something? Did I forget something along the way? This is white. That's white. Okay, we'll worry about it later. Okay. Then we could create a prepend distortion. Oh, I spelled that wrong. Distortion. There we go. So if we want to turn all that off, we can, and then we can dial in a bit of distortion as we want and go quite mad like that. Yeah, cool. All right. So yeah, we're starting to get loads of parameters now. It's all kind of getting a bit chocker. What else could we do? The zoom. Let's do a prepend zoom. And have a float for that as well. Set the distortion to 1 and then see what the zoom's like. Nope, the zoom does nothing. Or is it doing anything? No. Okay, let's put the zoom back down to nothing. Goodbye, zoom. So, right, yeah. Okay, another little drink break. Okay, let's make a height map. Let's make a 3D height map and put that into a material and put that material into the grid shape so that the texture that's coming from this video feedback creates a height map for the plane that it's actually being displayed on. We're going to have to zoom out a little bit. Hopefully you can all see this at home. It's starting to get pretty messy. We'll have to tidy it up later. Let's make this a touch smaller and let's move some of this over here a little bit. Okay, let's do a jit.gl.texture at adapt 0 at rectangle 0 at type float 32. Oops, float 32. Let's take that and let's see if that's coming through. Okay, that's coming through. Okay, so let's create a gl.material at height map mode VTF_normals, and let's connect the texture to the diffuse, the ambient, not the normals, the height map. And now let's actually disconnect this, reinstantiate it, and then connect the material to the grid shape. Yes! All right. This is good. Look at that. Ugh. It's kind of creepy. Turn that distortion off. All right, yeah, this is looking good. Let's put the erase color back to black. Let's ditch some of these P windows. There's so much stuff in here now. So much stuff to play with. Let's take all this, move this over here. So, yeah. Now I'm just going to play with it now. Let's have a look at a different bound mode, which is the type of mirroring. Let's try the theta. So we can kind of turn this now and we'll get this sort of slightly 3D texture there. Let's try zooming out. Yeah, let's put that filter back in. Let's bring that noise down to like 2. And let's try a bit more of that slide. It's nice. I like, oh, it's making me feel a bit sick. Let's bring the erase time down to 10. Bring that slide up. Yeah, I mean, there's so much stuff. I'm just going to get distracted tweaking with these parameters. Okay. So let's see if we can maybe do something with the color. Where would we need to set our color? Let's set the color of the first video plane. Yeah, okay, that's what we want. So I'm going to make a pack, and I'm going to say GL_color, and I'm going to say 1111, and then maybe now might be a good time to try and bring in some audio. Let's bring in this drum loop. Let's put that down there. Let's create, where's that easy DAC? Okay. Let's make a live gain. Connect that, and then let's connect that. Let's turn it down. Let's fire off that drum loop. Oh, it's only on one side. What did I do? Oh, wrong side. There we go. Okay, so we can use a peak amp to get some amplitude response from that. And I'll use the render bang from the jit.world to trigger that. And then if I connect, is that the right place? Report. Okay, yeah, that's it. So let's take just one channel of that audio, and then we see that we've got some numbers flicking with the peaks in the amplitude. Okay, so let's connect that to our noise. And indeed, maybe the signal that is writing into that matrix first of all, what I'll do is I'll create a little bit, I'll do that here actually, just create a little bit of a gain stage for those numbers. Let's just simply go multiply, and we'll create a float for that so that we can whack that up to like 10. Oh, I didn't specify that it's a float. Okay, it's a float, okay. 10. There we go. So you can see that there is a little bit of dynamic shift in the amount of noise when we get loud bits. Yeah, that's good. All right, let's connect that to the signal. Okay, that's a little bit much. Yeah, okay. Bit more of that filter, I think. Let's put that filter up to about just over halfway. Okay, cool. So we could also use that amplitude information to decide how much of each color we want. So up here, I'll create a couple of these multiply objects. One for the red, one for the blue, one for the green, and then we'll have a number for how much we want the audio to adjust the red, how much we want the audio to adjust the green, and one for the blue. And we'll take that. Thing is, we might want to clip that. Okay, so I'm going to create a clip here, or actually, yeah, let's say clip 0 to 1. So we're only going to get numbers from 0 to 1, I think. Oh, I don't know. Let's find out. So let's put that in here. So that would be geo color. That'd be RGB. So if I set this to 1, we should get a load of red. Oh no, we're not. That's interesting. It's just giving me blue. Oh, it's because yeah. Okay, no, that's all right. So actually, it's because there is already some numbers in there saying that, yeah, so now we're just going to get all red, or indeed nothing. It's kind of bad. Okay, this is going to take a little bit of time to work out. Oh, you know what? Let's change these to 0, 0. Oh my goodness me. Let's change all these numbers here to 0, 0, 0, 1. See if that helps a little bit. RG, let's try and dial up some red now. No, we're still just getting a lot of green. You know what? I've changed my mind. I'm not going to bother with that. We can just set it with the swatch. We'll create a swatch and then we'll just plug that in there, and then we can just set the color like that. Okay, that's fine. Still looks nice though. Okay. It's kind of fun. So now let's maybe think of a way that we can kind of rotate this. Let's apply that to the world. So let's make some space down here. Some of all this junk up here. Bring all this down here so we can do some stuff up here with the world. So let's try a couple of jit.time.perlin. Let's go at speed 0.01, and let's say at scale, I don't want to rotate it too much because we don't really want to go behind it because we won't see anything. We just want to see the front. So let's maybe try, let's start with 45. Let's make a pack here, and then we'll go rotate X, Y, Z, 0, 0, 0. I'll create a copy of these. Let's see what this one's like. Let's go into the world. Is it rotating? It's rotating very slowly. Let's just try a slightly faster speed of 0.1. Yeah, that's rotating up and down like that. Okay. Let's try 60, a scale of 60. All right, yeah, this is good. Let's make a copy of these and set those into the X and Y axis. Okay. I wonder if there's a way we could kind of make it sometimes go fast, make it sometimes go slow. Let's take another jit.time and have a scale of 0.5 or a scale of 1. Okay, so that's just going to give us some random numbers floating around. Okay, let's offset that by 1. Offset 1. So we're just getting random numbers between. Okay, and then let's. It's starting to get a bit messy now. Let's go prepend speed. Connect that to each of the other jit.time.purlins to give us. That's a bit much. Okay, that's going to make me sick. Oh my God, I've ruined it. I've ruined the patch. Let's just do it anyway. Okay. Whoa. Let's try. Let's go for a really slow speed here. Okay, that's way too much. Let's go for a scale of 0.5. Okay, that's still too much. Oh, I've done 0.5 points. That was dumb. Okay, it's still too much. Scale of 0.1. Okay, let's offset by 0.5. That's still too much. Scale by 0.1. We'll get there eventually. Offset by 0.1. Ah, that's a little bit better. It's less frightening. Yeah. I do. To be quite honest, I just quite like the black and the white. Right. This is good. Let's have another drink. Right, now we're going to do some parsing. Well, what on earth is that? Well, we're going to apply some shaders to the final rendering context. Oh, I'm going to run out of room. Where am I going to do that? Oh my goodness me. Let's just select everything, move everything along here a little bit, and let's bring the world back over here, and then go back over here. So, all right, so I'm going to create a jit.gl.parse at FX name bloom, I think. And now that is going to effectively apply a bloom shader to the world rendering context. So we can go to some parameters here. We've got threshold and we've got blur width and bloom amount, which has probably just been created behind there. So if we pull the threshold down, we'll start to see maybe a bit of bloom. There it is. Yeah, it's all starting to look a bit more bloomy, and, you know, bloom is quite a nice way to sort of mask some of those edges, I think. And then we can obviously make the bloom really intense, but that's a bit much. Let's go for something like 2, and then the width, we can make the width quite nice. Let's make that 2 as well. Yeah, that looks kind of cool. Perhaps the threshold is a little bit high, or low rather. Let's set it to, let's try 0.5. Yeah, okay, so let's now click the middle button here and go change attributes to arguments. Okay, that's good. That means when we load the patch. Okay, I'm going to do one more parse. I'm going to do jit.gl.parse at FX name. I believe it's just motion blur. And that's going to apply a little bit of motion blur as it moves around, which looks really nice, I think. But we have to first connect. In order to get these to sort of go in a chain, we have to take the middle outlet of the top one and connect it to the subsequent one. So now we've got we will have a little bit of motion blur. If I increase the velocity scale to something quite high, Yeah, look at that. Yeah. Let's maybe go with 20. Yeah, all right. This is cool. Transform, change attributes to arguments. Yeah, okay, all right, that's fine. All right, so that was kind of it, really. I mean, I say it's kind of turned out to be quite a lot, but it's nice. I like it. Let's pull that filter down a bit. I can't actually, like, I've kind of lost my bearings of where it is. Yeah, let's come a little bit closer like that. Yeah, it's fun. Sort of weird. It kind of doesn't look like graffiti anymore. Kind of looks like a flower having an existential crisis, perhaps. So I guess really at any point, if we kind of wanted to go back, we would have to kind of disable those time things. Can you do that? Oh yeah, we can have an enable. Okay, so let's do prepend enable. Make a toggle here. Whoa, it's really going for it. And then we'll connect all of those to our time, including this one. So we can turn it off, and then if we want, we can sort of ping it back to that. Yeah, cool. So if we want to turn that on, and then maybe we could do something like cell 0 and 1. So when we get a 1, or rather when we get a 0, we'll get a bang, right? Yeah, so when we turn it off, we can bang that reset handle. And then if we turn it on, we get this. And if we turn it off, it just goes back to that. Cool. This is nice. I'm having a nice time. Let's see what it's like with the beat. How long have I been going? This has been a long one. 43 minutes. Wow, if you're still watching, you are a trooper. Hope you've enjoyed this. We've deployed all the classics here. We've done some MSP audio processing. We've done some Jitter matrix processing. We've done some OpenGL texture shader processing and other things. Look, there's some things I don't understand. That's actually not as much lines of code as I thought it would be. Interesting. So there we go. I'm going to go and zip that up and put that on my Patreon now. So if you would like to support me on Patreon and download this plus all kinds of other things to do with Ableton and MaxMSP and all that kind of stuff, and it all goes towards giving me motivation to create more informative content such as this. Yeah, I guess that's it. Thanks everyone. See you very soon. Bye.